Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today I am building a fairly large home in the world of Forgotten Hollow, which is the world that came with The Sims 4 Vampires game pack, and this is going to be a vampire family home. I really wanted to build something bigger in this style, like a little bit more Victorian, sort of gothic, and something for vampires. It'd been way too long since I did an occult build, so I thought it was time to do so. And was in the mood to build something a little bit bigger. So this is a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom house coming in at 208,611 simoleons. And it's got some extra rooms as well. We have a place for dancing. We have an office, an attic, a basement. There's a lot going on in this house, and there's enough space for some parents, some kids, whoever you would like to have in this house. It ends up being pretty big in the end, and I spend a ton of time on the outside figuring out the shape, and I absolutely adore how it comes out. I think it is such an interesting shape, and it's really fun for me to build in this style. It's one I really enjoy, so I hope you will like it as well. If you do and you would like to download this house, it will be available on the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. You could also find it under the hashtag MissGryphi, and that information will also be in the description down below as well. So this is starting to take shape. You can see the general outline I have of the walls and the roofs, but I will be adding more onto this. There's going to be a round roof on part of this front porch. I'm just fiddling around with it right now, trying to figure out the best way for it to look like it was meant to be there. Lots of different roof pieces. Here is where I'm adding this little round piece. I just thought it would look nice here, so I created that by drawing out a room and then deleting the walls. And I just think it adds a little bit of interest to this area. I really enjoyed that. And then I lined it up with one of these diagonal roofs to make it look more like it's blended into the roof. And I put a lot of columns here and spandrels, and I'm using a lot of trims all over this house, and there's just a lot of little details that make me really happy. I love this style, and we're going to be on the outside for a very long time. So this is a bit of a longer video, a longer voiceover. So hopefully I make it through it okay, and I can figure out what to talk about for like 20 minutes, but I guess we'll find out. So for the fireplace over there, or the chimney space, I wanted to make sure that it had that sort of diagonal portion to it, which I see a lot in real life on chimneys, and in The Sims, the only way to really make it look like that is with a roof piece. I forget to paint that until way later, so it'll be a little while until that is painted, but right now I am working over on the right side of the build, trying to figure out how to make it look as nice and intricate as the left side, which I was super happy with at this moment. And we end up pulling it out, so it's got a little bit more shape over here and messing around with the roof line, and I think it works out really nicely. I love how high up the pitch of this roof is that I have throughout this build. I just think it's really fun, and it ends up being a really spacious house. I didn't feel like I was lacking space. I actually had 2 giant rooms I wasn't even sure what I was going to do with on the bottom floor, so it definitely it was on the bigger side. And there's space that you could definitely renovate a couple of different rooms to be extra bedrooms, or whatever space you think your Sims would enjoy having in this house. Since they are vampires, I don't have a lot of space outside I was thinking they were going to spend much time in. It's mostly focused on the inside, but I do have a couple of things outside. And I also didn't plant any of the plasma fruit trees, because they didn't really fit the aesthetic of the outside of this house, but I did end up towards the end of the build putting a couple of the larger planters on the balcony that you can see off to the left of the build. So that way, if you wanted your Sims to grow some plasma fruit, they could. But I was kind of imagining that these Sims got their plasma from Sims, not from fruit. So I didn't think it was too important. But yeah, just working on the landscaping here, using a lot of stuff from Live Edit Objects. Also ended up using a lot of rocks and a bunch of fun trees and stuff, and I love the colors that this area ended up being. There's that one purpley red plant from Vampires that I just think is so pretty and adds a lot of color to this space. And I also really enjoyed that I used black and white for the exterior of this because I really think the white pops so nicely against the black here, and I thought it was a little bit nicer to go about it that way instead of trying to make the house entirely black. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the windows that came with the My Wedding Stories game pack worked so nicely on this house. I really, really enjoyed them. You can see there's one in the front here, and I have a couple out the back as well. But I'm just framing out a garden bed here using these pieces from the debug menu because I wanted more of an organic, like round shape here. I was thinking this place was generally pretty well kept, put together. There's a couple of things that are dead or overgrown or what have you, but I wanted it to feel very structured in the way it's laid out. So that is what I was going for here, and we should be filling that up with more plants in a little bit. I just wasn't sure what I wanted at first. I tried so many different plants. Honestly, the whole exterior and a good chunk of the landscaping I did in a 2-hour stream. And then I spent another hour in the next stream continuing to do the exterior and landscaping and some of the interior in that stream. And then I finished the interior in my own time. It's still in this video, but I didn't do it on stream. So a majority of this was done on Twitch, but not all of it. So these webs, these spider webs, I think they're really cool. They came with vampires as well. And the regular ones you can find in the catalog are just the size they are. You can't scale them up. But the ones that are in debug, you can definitely scale up. Also, I thought this was kind of interesting. It kind of looks like a little pathway over here, but I made it with graves that are like the dug up graves or the patches of dirt that would be in front of a new grave. So I did that out front because I thought it looked interesting, and I ended up having some actual graves out back. I'm not sure if those are some humans that were special to them or some vampires in the family that tragically passed, but whatever or whoever these Sims were, they must have been special to this family because they're buried in the backyard. So I do have a few of those. We also ended up putting roses on the grave, so maybe they were romantic interests at some point. It's definitely an idea. You could definitely, decide who these Sims are if you do play with this house and you want to figure out that storyline, or you can delete it. You can change whatever you would like about this house if you decide to play with it. That goes for all my builds. I don't care what you do with them as long as you enjoyed them. If you download them, I hope you do anyway. I mean, you're not required to, but I hope you enjoyed the builds. I have a lot of fun making them, and it makes me happy to see people using them. So thank you if you've ever downloaded a build. Just messing here around with Tool, trying to lower some of the plants because when the terrain is not flat, plants tend to float, which is very frustrating. So I was just trying to configure that a little bit here. And then we're finally heading to the inside of the build. Not for much yet. This was at the end of the first stream. And then we're back out front because I found this wall in debug from Cats and Dogs. Somebody had suggested it. I've used this wall for things before, but I've never thought to use it here, and I thought it worked perfectly, especially this broken piece, because I did want this to feel like it was very put together, but I liked the idea of it being like falling apart a little bit, like it's dated, but not. How do I phrase this? I think it's a really nice home, and they live in it, and for the most part keep up with it, but it's old, so there are some like cracks and tears, maybe some spider webs in areas they're not using as much, and like a broken stone wall out front is not something they're worried about fixing. I don't know if I phrased that correctly, but that's sort of what I was thinking. And then I'm figuring out the upstairs. These stairs disappeared, so I had to put them back. But the layout upstairs is very interesting in that the primary bedroom walks into a closet that then has this little pathway above the staircase that you have to walk through. See that little like walkway with the fence there to get into the primary bathroom, which I think is really fun. It's an interesting layout for sure, and I really enjoyed it, but it was just a funky floor plan to try and figure out, so it was a little bit challenging, but I'm pretty happy with it. I hope you will like it as well. There are going to be quite a few bedrooms in this space. I decorated them for a teen, a child, and a baby. I almost said toddler, but I decided I really wanted to use the bassinets that we have. I at first placed down the vampire bassinet, but I decided the spellcaster one was more the style I was going for, so that's the one I ended up using in the end. But right now I'm just kind of throwing down placeholder furniture to figure out what each room is going to be. And this is a room I wasn't sure what it was going to be at first, but chat had requested that the entrance to the basement was covered by bookcase doors. So that is what I did in there, which I think looked really cool in the end. Actually, I think the first room we start on is the living room. I didn't actually start on the kitchen this time, which is kind of fun and different for me, but we do have an organ when you first walk in right by the stairs. And I got one of these big paintings and put some mirrors in that. I love that frame that comes with that painting. I think of it as the one that just has Vlad as a portrait, but there are lots of other ones. And then I did rotate another one of these frames with tulle and I positioned it over the fireplace. It takes a little bit of fiddling because I'm not very good at tulle and I placed a TV in it. So it was, still a place your Sims could watch TV, but it looks a little bit more in line with the style of this house. So yeah, just getting a bookcase and then this love seat from Cats and Dogs. Something about it has always to me screamed vampire house in this color. So I had to use it in here, and then the couch is from Cottage Living. We get a little lamp and a skull in a jar. Very important thing to have for sure. And yeah, that's most of the living room. We end up having some more bookcases as well as this little divider. And we'll be coming back to it and adding more to it a little bit later. I just, for some reason, needed to step away from it and come back to it, but we're working on the kitchen now. I used these countertops from Realm of Magic, this really pretty runner rug from the Vampires pack, and actually a pretty modern tile as a backsplash in the kitchen. I thought it worked really nicely in here, and I liked the contrast, how the outside of the house had the black and white, so I wanted to bring a little bit of that inside. Most of the house is still pretty dark, but I do have this lighter colored tile in here. And I used like an end table in the center of the room as sort of an island, which I think worked beautifully. And I will be moving these cutting boards because I decided I liked these curtains over here and they kind of conflicted. They also conflicted with the sink, so I moved that. And this is where those cutting boards are going to go. Plus that that vase of flowers in the middle, I don't know why I called it a painting, is gorgeous. And I also used this new like love seat. It's kind of like a pew. From my wedding stories as like a built-in window seat here and rotated a meditation stool on it as a little cushion. And we have our trash can over in the corner. I just think this is a really cute kitchen. I love how it came out. It's really dark, but I feel like it has a lot of personality and has a pretty nice layout as well, if I do say so myself. I hope you will enjoy it. But anyway, this is the backyard. These chairs are not functional. They're debug items. I just thought they looked nice here, and I don't imagine your Sims are going to go and like hang out in the sun anyway because they're vampires. So you don't have to worry about them trying to use those chairs because they're not real chairs. I know they look like real chairs, but they're not. I wish they were. They seem like a very normal looking chair you would have outside. Like, what is that material called? But like a woven chair. Anyway, this is the dining space. I paired two different chairs together. I liked the idea of doing this because it brings in a little bit more of a modern look with the Seasons chairs that I used as the main 6. But also they're all high back chairs. So the end ones are from Vampires. And I thought that this little art piece on the wall was perfect. That came with the most recent Maximalist kit, Decor to the Max. I don't know why I haven't been calling it by its name. I just call it the Maximalist kit, but I thought it looked nice. I really like how this dining room came out. It's kind of a big space, and I often struggle with trying to figure out how to furnish dining rooms because it's just a big room with a table in it. But I think it came out pretty cute in the end regardless. And then just getting some more artwork over here in the living room. And behind this area, I end up having a chess table. So there's actually 2 chess tables in this house, and they're not too far from each other. There's one right here, and then there's one on the front porch in that rounded portion. And if your Sims want to play chess, they have options. I just thought outside it looked nice and it'd be a functional area, but your Sims are probably not going to want to be outside very much if they're vampires. Although there is a like power they can unlock as they become a more powerful vampire that makes it so they can be out in the sun. So I guess it depends on what vampires you have and how far up they are in their vampireness. I don't know the right words. I played a lot with vampires when it first came out, actually for a lot longer than just when it first came out. I absolutely adore them. They were actually the only occult that I really had much interest in The Sims 3. So I've played a lot of vampires in The Sims 3 and Sims 4, and I think they're really good. So it was nice to come back and build something for them in the game. I know I don't do a lot of occult builds outside of like October, so it was kind of fun in, March and April working on this and posting it now in April. And I'll probably do some more occult builds, to be honest, at some point. So let me know if there's anything else you would like to see. But this is that office space with the bookcase doors. I am blocking 2 out of the 4, but only one of them is functional anyway. It's the one over on the left, because the other ones there's no floor behind them, so you can't go through them. And I just wanted there to be a place for your Sims to read, relax, have a computer. I used the one that looks like a typewriter in here, which came with Cottage Living. And there's also a globe bar over here for your Sims to get some drinks. There ends up being a full-size bar in a different room, but I liked the idea of the globe bar in the office space. I thought it was pretty cute and got some candles, and that should be it for that room. And we're moving on to the bathroom. There are 4 bathrooms in the house. This is the only one I'm showing, and this one is a half bath, so it's just a toilet and a sink, I think. Just a toilet and a sink in this room, and the sink is from Cottage Living, but the toilet is from Vampires. And it paired really nicely, actually, with this towel, like standing towel set from the Get Famous pack. So I used that. Anyway, this room is like the room right off of the living room, and it leads to the backyard. There's a bar in here. There's a dance floor, some painting, some seating. We even have like a jukebox, or not a jukebox in here. What did I put down? I put down a record player. For some reason, I always want to say jukebox because for a long time we didn't have a record player like this. That one came with the Get Famous pack. And we had, I think the jukebox we have is base game. So I'm like, oh yeah, we have that thing. And no, I did not use that. That is not the vibe I was going for. I thought having a record player in there would be really nice. And we're upstairs now working on the hallway. I put like a fancy coffin over here that your Sims can't actually get to, and there's some statues all around. And then I filled up the walls with paintings. There's a gargoyle at the top of the steps. I just wanted some general clutter and decorations in the hallway, and I think it came out all right. For all the bedrooms, I did put beds, but I have some coffins in the basement. So if you have your Sims not being able to sleep in beds, because that's one of like the negatives you can get as a vampire, because you have your weaknesses as well, and your Sim needs to sleep in a coffin. There are coffins in the basement. But I thought it would be nice to decorate the bedrooms with regular furniture that fit the style of this house. So this bed is from the Vampires pack, and it's just very brown in here. I thought it looked nice, mostly using Vampires furniture. And then this is the walkway area that is like a closet. So I used the closet pieces from Get Famous, and then there's the little like bridge above it that goes into the bathroom. But I didn't show decorating the bathroom because they were all pretty much the same. Anyway, this is the teenager's room. It's very purple in here. I think it's kind of fun. This is a base game bed, I'm pretty sure, in a deep purple swatch. I'm not sure if I've used this one before because it's a lot. It is so deep purple, and this ends up being a very dark room. I tried to add a little bit of lightness, so we have some paintings and stuff that are like white, and I think that helped lighten up the space. And also the lamp in the corner. I was trying to figure out like what I thought each of these Sims would be interested in for the kids. And this one, I'm pretty sure is just kind of into art, kind of just like a generic teenager vampire. I was also thinking maybe a little bit into like makeup or fashion or what have you. I put this painting from Vintage Glamour, and I think it's a cute room. I didn't overly think about like the exact personality for this room. I was just having a lot of fun with the color. But anyway, this is going to be the kids' room, and it's very green in here. I will change the wallpaper though because it was a little bit too much. But this bed is from Realm of Magic, and then I'm just playing around with the rug. I still wanted these rooms to feel like they fit the style of the house, even though they are not for like the main Sims, they're for the kids. So I think I did an okay job with this. I think this kid is into like games and science and maybe a little bit of like airplanes and stuff. They have a Strangerville poster. And then this is the baby nursery. It's like very pink and black, and I mess around so many different times with the swatches I used in here. I couldn't decide on a wood tone. I think I went with the white ones in the end. But the bassinet, as I mentioned earlier, is the Realm of Magic bassinet because I think it's really cute. It's like the cutest bassinet we have in game. I've used it before in nurseries that were just for human sims because it's adorable. Yeah. Anyway, this floral wallpaper is from the Maximalist kit as well. I think it's really nice. And that was it for the nursery. And we are up into the attic. I kind of made this just like a very spacious, minimally cluttered, like art space, studio space for painting. And I just wanted to put something up here, but leave it so it wasn't too overly decorated. So if you wanted to change it to whatever your Sims would actually want to do, because I know you're probably not going to have the exact family I imagine here. And then this is the basement with 4 coffins, and I'm just decorating the walls with a couple of tapestries as well as some cracks and tears because we are underground here. But that's pretty much it for this build. That's it for this vampire family home. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. That really does help me out. You could also subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the screenshots, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.